The Chicago Bulls lose a close one to the Miami Heat, 107-104. What is going on, y'all? Fox Sports Talk back at it with another video talking, of course, some NBA in here to talk about the Chicago Bulls and talk about this loss that they took to the Miami Heat. So let's talk about this game, folks. Let's just dive right into it, all right? I was really looking forward to this game. This was a marquee matchup between the Bulls and the Heat, two of the better teams in the East and really in the NBA. And Miami, we know in the offseason, made all the big upgrades, notably with Kyle Lowry. And they have their own version of the big three with Lowry, Bam, and Jimmy. And we have the Bulls here with, of course, our big three and maybe a quasi four, if you include Lonzo, obviously, with DeRozan, Levine, Vuce, and Lonzo. So I was really looking forward to this matchup. This was a big test against a formidable opponent in the Eastern Conference. So the Bulls lose this game, but let's talk about the ways that they lost. And to me, the biggest thing about this game, if you had to just sum it up of why the Bulls lost, it would have to do with turnovers. The Bulls had a season-high 22 turnovers, folks, in this one. Miami only had 10. 22 turnovers to 10. More often than not, you're going to lose those games where you have that many more turnovers than the other team. And they were just being too sloppy with the basketball, folks. The Bulls were being too sloppy, too indecisive. And particularly, I want to talk about Zach LaVine and his performance, or I should say lack thereof. 6 for 16, had 16 points. This was one of the worst games I've seen Zach play. And to me, he was one of the main reasons for the Bulls having a lot of these turnovers because Zach was never set in what he was trying to do. Indecisive, sloppy, didn't want to shoot the basketball at times. Like, it was just bad, folks. And I want to see Zach snap out of this. Obviously, hopefully it's just one game, but that I did not like. And then here's the other thing. Nikola Vucevic, 3 for 9 from the field, 7 points. Can we get Vuce involved again, please? Like, I know this was a bad matchup against Bam Adebayo, who's a very good interior defender, but man, we should never, ever have Vuce with less than 10 points, less than double figures. 7 points is unacceptable for Nikola Vucevic, all right? We need to get him going. And so, to me, turnovers was the big reason they lost this game. And the other thing that you kind of could see here is the Bulls still don't know their defined roles. They still don't know that. And that's one thing with Miami that they do know. Miami has that experience, and it showed today, if you notice that, right? And the Bulls don't really have clearly defined roles, right? Today, Zach LaVine wasn't sure if he's supposed to take over or not. You know, DeMar DeRozan, is he the number one option or not? Nikola Vucevic, he feels like, hey, where do I even fit in this offense, right? 7 points, are you kidding me? Lonzo Ball had a very solid game. I like that. Almost had a triple-double there. But for the most part, the parts don't fit like a puzzle right now. And again, it takes time, right? First year with the new team and cohesiveness is going to take time. Miami has experience for a reason because they were together for a few years. I know Lowry's new, but Bam and Jimmy have been there for a minute. They went to the finals. So to me, that's another thing where I'm looking at it and I'm like, yeah, I need this Bulls team to get some clearly defined roles here because we need to know who the number one guy is, number two guy, number three guy, and so on and so forth. So everybody knows where they fall in the pecking order. So we're not being indecisive. We're not being sloppy. We're not saying, hey, should I shoot it? No. We need to be decisive. All right? Sloppiness was the reason the Bulls lost this game. And defensively, both teams didn't shoot that well, but man, it wasn't even like Miami had somebody go off in this one. I mean, they did have somebody go off, but their bench score was Gabe Vincent. He was the one guy. Gabe Vincent, of all people. I'm sure a lot of you guys have never even heard of Gabe Vincent. He's a bench scorer for the Miami Heat. He had 20 points. He led them with 20 points in this one. So Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo both didn't even have great games in this one. Gabe Vincent scored 20 points. And that was a big, loud 20 points. He hit clutch three-pointer after three-pointer. Every time the Bulls went on a little bit of run or they were trying to separate themselves from the Heat, Gabe Vincent hit that three, brought him back. And it was just, it was some big shots that he hit in this one. So to me, overall, folks, I'm encouraged because, again, we stayed and we were close in this one with a team like the Miami Heat, who are a very solid team. But you got to cut down on the turnovers. You got to stop being sloppy, and you got to get clearly defined roles, folks. Look, that's some of the reasons we've had these awful losses against teams like Houston, against teams like Indiana. Both teams we should have never lost to. Good teams do not lose to one-win teams like the Houston Rockets. They just don't. So experience is going to help us as the Bulls keep growing. But Billy Donovan needs to help define these roles. And then we got to cut down on the turnovers. We got to make sure that we're not playing sloppy basketball. And hopefully the rest will take care of itself. There's going to be a lot more tests here, folks. And again, a lot of ups and downs here throughout the season for the Bulls. But hopefully they will get better from this. I am encouraged by the performance, but I also know they could have won this and they didn't get the job done. So that was discouraging. Let me know what you guys think. What are your main takeaways from the Bulls versus the Heat matchup that you saw? Leave a comment down below. As always, thanks for watching.